Let's begin today's webinar on New York child and spousal support. So what you are seeing now is Family Law Software Cloud Edition. And so if you are a desktop user, the software has all the same functionality in the same places. It just looks a little different. So the focus is child and spousal support. But before we jump into the child support and maintenance calculation, I want to point out that you are building a net worth statement, usually in your case first. And one of the most common questions and confusions that can happen in New York relates to income when it comes to using family law software. So when you click your expense and income section, I feel like expenses are pretty straightforward, but in New York, something that's very unique is that you do a gross income worksheet and it's based off of last year's taxes. And so family law software understands that your calculations are going to be based off of last year's income and taxes, but family law software also has an option for entering current income. And so we have these two folders for income. If your primary function is just to build the net worth statement, then you want to focus on the gross income worksheet. But if your real purpose is doing support calculations and any other calculations in family law software, they're going to be based off of the current income. And so best practice would be to use the current income, but if in your case you want to use the last year's income in this section as well, that could help avoid double entry for the calculations. So if you have any questions about how we collect income for the net worth statement and how that impacts your child support case, obviously let us know and we can try to help further clarify that. So child support and maintenance, those tools are going to be located here. They all share information from this folder. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to support and maintenance. And one of the first questions that you might have is, where is all this data coming from? I have opened up a sample file, and at any time you're able to open the exact same file. It's located down here under settings, and you can open the exact same file and look at it. And so what I've done is I have gone into child support and spousal support. So for New York, the first question we always get is, there's no kids. How do I just calculate spousal support? And so that's a great question. And so what you would do in a case where you don't have spousal, or excuse me, when you do not have children, you still go to the child support and maintenance data screen. You just don't have kids. And so in this case, what I'll do is I'll just delete the children. Okay. Bye-bye to the kids. And by default, there will be no children in your file unless you enter them. And then I'm on the quick New York calculator. And when I scroll down, I can see that spousal maintenance is calculating. So you don't have to have children, but you do have to come to the child and spousal support calculator. So I understand that if you don't have kids, it seems like a strange thing to do, but the calculators are together. Now, back to child support. So in family law software, we have two ways child support. The first is quick, and this is intended for simple cases and consultations. It goes pretty far in New York. And so if you're using the quick calculator, let's bring our kids back. So let me enter 2 children. I'm going to update my screen. We'll bring Kim and Reese back. And let's pop in their date of births for step down purposes. And we'll say this one was born this year. And so now, once I have children plus money, this is going to be a live child support number that is being calculated on a monthly basis. And it has cut off the name of the payor, but at least you can see those first couple of letters. So we know it's Blake. In this case, we've got Blake and Taylor. And so if you're ever on this screen and you're thinking, where do I enter this number or where do I enter that number? Again, this is for simple cases and consultations. And so therefore, if the case is more complex or requires more data entry, you would switch to complete. Complete. Anything and everything that affects child support will be on this screen. No time is wasted because you can see child support has not changed from calculator to calculator. It's the same result. And this screen is not only in use for calculating child and spousal support, it is also for any income and expenses related to children. And so family law software is not only calculating support and building a net worth statement, we're also building budget reports and cash flow and net income analysis. And so if there is a data entry that does not necessarily directly affect child support or maintenance, it's because that's what the purpose is for. And so as an attorney who may not need it, I can skip it. So we have 2 children, date of birth, and by default, you're going to see the name of one of the parents here. Family law software does not know who the lower income parent is. So if you have a case that is very close to 50-50 timesharing, you want to put the name of the lower income person here. Family law software does not automatically know who that is, and so you would have to modify these boxes. I can see the child support result at the top. So if you're ever curious, it's a 50-50 case, maybe incomes are close, and you want to switch this, sure. So instead of Taylor, I'm going to put in Blake and Blake. And so now Blake is in these boxes, and child support has a major swap in that the amount changes and the payor changes. You can see the TA is going to be for Taylor. So that's the beauty of having a live child support calculator, is you can make modifications and instantly see how it impacts your case. Especially if you have cases where you're just curious or want to run different numbers, you can do that. And so in this case, I happen to know that Taylor is the lower income person. And so I am going to switch this back to Taylor. If you have any questions about how these boxes impact the calculation or why we are asking about that, so for instance, like the tax dependent who is claiming the child for the child's tax credit. So this is a drop down, so I could select Blake. And so for attorneys that are just calculating child support, you'll notice there is no change in child support because this is not a factor when it comes to calculating the net income of the parties for child support purposes. But if you are a financial professional or an attorney who wants to look at our analysis tools over here on the left bar, this is important because this could mean thousands of dollars in the pocket of this person, not necessarily available for child and spousal support, but available period to meet their expenses or their needs. So that's kind of like a higher level function of family law software. So if you've ever wondered why we have those items here, that's why. If you're ever in a pinch and you're having to explain this to yourself, your staff, the mediator, the judge, you just click this blue bubble and we have a huge explanation about what that box is controlling. And in this case, it's the child tax credit and credits that are related to children. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's move on. And so I'm just going to click this to close it. So these are all of your folders. You do not have to go in order. You can jump around. You're going to get to the same result. It just depends on where you need to go. So let's go into some money. Again, I'm using the sample file. So if you're already seeing these numbers here, it's because they're a part of the sample file. Pay attention to lots of different things. Everything we're asking for is gross. It's because we're going to tax affect it. And the pay period. So your client might get paid on a weekly basis, a monthly basis. So however the client gives you the information, you're able to pop it in here. So that's what that's going to be used for. If the party's coming in and they're minimum wage or an hourly employee, I could just check this box and we will apply the current minimum wage to that person. So maybe they're unemployed, underemployed, whatever the case is. We can start with the hourly tool at minimum wage and then make adjustments accordingly. For tax purposes, I can check this box. So if I check this box, it means that Blake is a 1099 self-employed person. This will affect your child support result. That is going to be one of the reductions. And so I can check that box, uncheck that box, know that it is for 1099s who are subject to the self-employment tax. All right, unique to New York is your statutory caps. They change. Your caps changed, I think in 2022 was when this happened. And so it's very common to see combined net incomes that are above that threshold. And so how does this impact your case? So number one, they have to have income that meets this number, because if not, these checkboxes don't matter. So why don't we, I'm going to scroll up so we can talk about the cap. In this case, let's just make it abundantly clear that the cap is relevant. And so now I see the child support result at the top. I scroll back down and we're going to talk about the cap. So with the statutory cap, that's going to be our default. Have questions about that, click the blue bubble. Or I could click use no cap. And so what does that mean if I'm not using the cap? We're not capping the income at 163. We're allowing the full party's income to affect the child support calculation. And so you are going to instantly see that this is going to have a huge impact in your case. For those of you that this is a very common scenario, you handle professionals. I mean, this is an easy number to reach if you have 2 professionals in the household. Why don't we, you can, right here, I can literally say use the cap, don't use the cap, and I instantly see the effect. Something else that you can do though is if there's something that affects your case as dramatically as this in the cap, we have what we call an analysis tool where you can run child support side by side. What do I mean by that? So right now we are under enter data, support and maintenance data. So this is where all of your financial information will be located. This is the bank. I'm going to close the bank and we're going to go into higher level tools. So if I click analysis, these are all tools that really make family law software shine. So we encourage you to start dipping in here to get better results for your clients, show different outcomes. And here is what we call support what if. If I click support what if, this is a side-by-side child support. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove these so you can see what the screen would look like. If you're using the sample file, this is exactly what it will look like. But if you were using this on your particular case, that's clearly not what it would look like. You would have this column. And so this column matches your child support calculator. And I could add a scenario here. And so what I'm going to do is this one had the cap at the 163, the statutory cap. And here I'm going to run child support with no cap. So in this scenario, this is just a note. This does not change anything. All the numbers are still the same. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. And I am going to go to the income cap. And here I'm going to say no cap. So this is a great way to present options to the client, to the judge, to your mediator to stay ahead of the game. And so in this column, I'm comparing cap to no cap. There's other things that you could use this tool for, but for higher income cases, I think that this is a very interesting tool. If you're doing extremely high incomes, you can choose what your cap is. The program will allow you to do that. And all I do is click PDF in the top right-hand corner, and this makes an excellent exhibit, either for your fact finder or for your clients. Best case, worst case type of thing. All right, so this, again, this was an analysis tool. We encourage you to come here, but the first analysis tool that I always, the baby tool is spousal support, excuse me, child support. So let's go back to our enter data and we're going to click support and maintenance data. And so far we've talked about income, we've talked about the custodial parent, and we've talked about income caps. Next question is, are you doing this right? You can print at any time. So if you want to see what you've done so far and how these numbers translate or carry on to the support calculation in the worksheet, I can click print support at any time. And so this is great for people that are new to family law software because you can come here and see what is going on. These are options at the top that you can remove. So look for those checkboxes. And then when I scroll down, this is a note. So in this note, I could say cap, no cap, whatever the note is, you know, custodial parent is mom or dad or split. And so all of these numbers are blue because we took these numbers from the calculator and we brought them over here. If you have a number that is missing or wrong, just go back to the calculator and update it. We want all of the software's functions to be working, and blue is what we want for that. And so then I keep on scrolling down. And it's all here. So at any time you can come here and check out what's going on. And then here's the monthly amount that matches our calculator. And then here is the weekly support amount. We break it down for you here. All right, let's go back and keep on calculating child support. So we're going to go back into the calculator and we're still at the cap and income section. So our next folder is another income section. So let's go here. Why does family law software ask for income on so many lines? It's because we're constantly tax affecting that income. So you want to put it on the right line. Let us know if it's taxable or non-taxable. And that's going to be really great for net cash flow analysis because today they're getting divorced and today they have child and spousal support, but in 5 years, that might not be the case. And you can use family law software to show your client where they're going to be financially post-divorce. And that's a really powerful tool. So as an attorney, that might feel uncomfortable, but it's something that you can offer your clients. And as a financial professional, that's 100% what they're doing when you hire one. All right, income from investments and pensions. If you have older clients or wealthier clients, excuse the scrolling, it's because I've made the font bigger. And so therefore I'm having to do a lot of scrolling. Older and wealthier clients. So if you're doing a spousal support, you might come here. If it's child and spousal support and they still have minor children, then again, this could be relevant. So you want to enter the correct source of income on the correct line. And so this is going to be here. And so let me scroll down. If they own a business, we're not going to go super into it, but here's where that business would go. The form of entity is important, again, for tax purposes. And let me just scroll down a little further. This is an option that we have for New York. We assume that you want to include all sources of income. That might not be the case. For whatever reason, the parties may agree to exclude investment income sources, and we do have that option for you here. So again, older clients with minor children, wealthier clients, or clients that you have spousal support issues, this may or may not be relevant to your case, and that is an option that we have. Right. So let me scroll up. Sorry, I'm going to close the folder. So at this point, we have worked our way through the children, the income sources, and here is where the calculation of maintenance is happening. Again, if you have no children, don't put in children, and this calculator is still going to work. It's still located here. This is where it's going to be nested, regardless if you have children or no children. And so why don't we open up the maintenance? Next. Perfect. So when I come here, blue, that means we're doing math for you. Yellow means that we need information from you. And so here, the date of marriage in the sample file is already there, but the date of commencement of the action is not. So just for demo purposes, let's make this a longer term marriage. And then we'll say they filed at the beginning of this year. So both of those dates are important. So if you come here and you're wondering why is the calculation not there, it's because we need these two pieces of information. And so once they're put in there, the rest of the calculator will work. So we're automatically calculating the amount of years and then the total amount of maintenance that will be applied in this case. Simple. So again, no kids, you come to the same place. Kids with spousal support, you come here. This can be overridden. So if you need it to be 0, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So if you need to change this, you can. You don't have to accept the calculation. All right, well, let's scroll down and talk about deduction. Sorry. The big one is going to be the taxes. So, where do they work? How are they taxed? Family law software has this in here. You just check these boxes and then we'll apply those taxes. If you are working cases where the parties live in New Jersey, but they work in New York or they're in Connecticut, whatever, family law software has all 50 states taxes loaded. So if I need to change either one of the parties' taxable income, so let's say they are in Connecticut, we can change that. And then these are going to be like the local taxes that we can apply. Right, so the deduction section, let's go here. Let me scroll back up, sorry. All right, so health insurance. So I always tell users slow down and then read what we're looking for. Cost for parent and child. So once you put the total cost in here, we have several options here, A, B, C, D, on how you want to allocate some of those premiums to the child. So these are the 4 options that you have. A, so here A goes with A, that's going to be your default. If not, you can choose any of the other calculators. And then other methods, and when I scroll down, we have A, B, C, D. So by default, we assume that you're going to come here and enter the total amount, parent plus child, and here you're going to allocate for the child. So those are the way. Sometimes that's just not how health insurance works, to be honest. We know what the total amount is, and if you want us to prorate the parents versus the children, we're able to do that as well. So all of those numbers are going to calculate here, and then when we go to print support, you'll see how they go into that section. Okay, let's see, section E. This is like your final. So all of these are the reports that we're creating, and you're going to see how these numbers are going to impact the worksheet. They're blue because we've done these calculations based off of what you've done above. So that's going to be for the portion for the children versus the parents. And then we've got daycare or childcare. Oops. I apologize for all the scrolling. So daycare is going to be the cost for childcare. We have a detailed worksheet here. So let's say per month, they're spending like $1,200 a month on childcare. And I want to go into the details here. This is showing the combined cost, the allocation based off of income, and then we do the full calculation here. I can click PDF, and this could be an attachment. So if both parties are contributing to the cost of the childcare, this might be something that you want to click PDF, and then you can attach that to your final worksheet or use it as a standalone. Back. In your browser, you can use the back button. So I'll use that, and it takes me exactly to where I was before. Out-of-pocket expenses, bring them here. Other deductions are going to be here. Maintenance on other relationships specifically. And you're pretty much done. So let's go and look at printing again. So let's click print. And we talked about the options at the top, the notes that you can place, and then this is our full calculation. And when I'm ready to print, I would click PDF. If you have any questions about these numbers, again, the blue bubbles are intended to help you. And so if these bubbles don't get you the right answer or get you far enough, obviously reach out to us and we can help. So this is supposed to help you help yourselves because we know that you guys don't want to call us every time you have a question. So we have help built into the program. All right, I'm going to go back to my support and maintenance data, and I'm going to click the second to last folder here. And so this folder is called child support to use. We assume that you want to use our calculations. And so if you need to make any modifications, you can say that you don't want to use these numbers. And the other thing that's nested away in this second to last section is the step down. If you have multiple children and you enter their date of birth, Family Law software is going to calculate level 1 of child support. And then once this child ages out on their birthday, then we will calculate the next level of support once that first child ages out. So this step down worksheet has always been there for you. It automatically calculates and it's available for you. Again, PDF, and this turns into a printable PDF or exhibit. Let's go back. At the bottom of your calculator, we have the worksheets that you can come and look at. And then, so I clicked on the maintenance worksheet, or I could click print maintenance here. So in my printing, this is where the data was entered. This is where we printed for child support. And then this is going to be your maintenance printout. So when you come here for maintenance, there are a couple options at the top that you can click or unclick. So these are things that you can add or remove. This is blue. If you need to modify this, you can. The text will turn red. So I could say like second. There we go. I was like, why isn't it letting me? There we go. So you can update this text. It'll be red, but that's okay. So that's how you would modify a header. And then we have the blue if you needed to update the duration of the marriage, and then everything is located here. So this is what you would print for your maintenance. All right, so that is all we have for you today. So we got through the material very quickly. This is your New York child support and maintenance. So again, we've got the quick, we've got the complete, and then last we have graphs. So for anyone that likes visual representations, these are also built into the program. So I can have these as visual representations or attachments. In this particular case, we went from a high income and we've almost equalized them by the time that there's child and spousal support, and I can click PDF. So these can be powerful demonstrative pieces for your clients. And if you want to see how these numbers impact your client's available total income, so I'm going to go back into the analysis, and here is support impact. So in this particular case, we've calculated child and spousal support. And so this is showing the financial health of the parties before and after the support. So in this case, you can see Blake is paying child and spousal support. And so this is showing their entire cash flow picture. And then I can click expanded report here and really see where the money is coming and where the money is going. So those are all of those higher level tools that we encourage you to use over in the analysis section. And thank you for joining us today.